and season's greetings out there, everybody. Welcome to Mysterious Pals. My name is Chris, and I'm joined by my best pal, Jordan. I heard his dad call him pancakes once. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Joey Flapjacks.
Weirdly enough, that's what he calls you now. He did call you pancakes.
And there's Johnny Cakes there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
No, he's great.
I'd like to jump right out here at the beginning and say and remind everybody that the music you heard in the intro and outro of the show is by a band called Bethlehem.
Yes.
I don't think I mentioned that enough
Yes.
on the other shows that we do. I think I need to also remember to do that every time. We thank them very much for the opportunity to use their music. But thank you again for being here, Jordan. I'm ready to go if you're ready to go. But actually, no, stop.
Actually, whoa.
Put the brakes, hit the
Pump
brakes. This episode's going up the week before Christmas here in the States. We know that Christmas isn't the only holiday,
right?
But that's the one we celebrate. It's the one that's popular here in the States at this time of year. There's obviously a lot of other holidays.
Sure, yeah. But 'tis the season.
Tis the season for just specifically. It always comes back to being Christmas, saying Christmas, Merry Christmas, that type of stuff. For us, that's what we say. But we understand that there's lots of other holidays, lots of other things that families celebrate. In any case, it's the holidays. Happy holidays. Hopefully everybody's taking this week, next week, the following week for New Year's, the holiday season, spending with family and friends. But I want to know, Jordan, what you remember from being a child. What did you do for Christmas? What was your Christmas memories? If you think back to when you were a wee little pancake, maybe a silver dollar pancake, whatever they called it. Whatever they call the smallest pancakes.
Yes, right? Silver dollar?
Yeah.
Sure.
The smaller ones.
Ooh.
What do you remember about those times?
I do remember, like, where I'm originally from is, like, where my family's from. We had big holidays, like, mom's side of the family, dad's side of the family, all get together. I just remember being, like, a lot of people around, which is nice. It was fun. Remember we used to always watch Cops on Christmas Eve?
That is a very specific thing you did on Christmas Eve. Cops?
Yeah, Cops.
Just really love the...
Yeah, because we all get together on Christmas Eve. I think a lot of times they'd come to our house.
That's such a... I've never heard anybody say I've watched
For some
Cops.
reason, I totally forgot about this. Like, I remember, like, I forgot about it until, well, just now, but I remember it's been brought up in the past, and, like, I forget about it. But, yeah, we'd watch Cops Christmas Eve because they do, like, a marathon, I feel like, on Christmas Eve.
They still do that?
On, like, Fox. This is, like, back.
Like, some people watch the the Christmas Story?
Yeah.
Some people watch the Christmas
Wizard
Story.
of Oz, I think, is really popular on Christmas Eve for some reason.
I know there's 24 Hours of Christmas Story on TBS.
Yeah.
And then there was, like, someone recently started another tradition on another channel, but, like...
Yeah, for some reason,
I've never heard of Cops as being the 24-hour thing.
I've seen so many episodes of Cops.
On Christmas Eve?
Yeah, it's Christmas Eve, yeah.
There's literally nothing else on you guys could watch?
For some reason, I think it was my one uncle, my mom's brother, was, like, really into Cops.
Such a specific
But
thing.
I remember at the time, though, Cops was, like, a big deal. Like, you're watching,
in the
like,
90s.
Yeah, you're watching, like, live footage of, like, not live, but, like,
I guess that's
real footage of people.
now it's everything's live footage. But
I guess it's, like, kind of the first one instances of, like, reality TV.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
They're, like, making arrests, and, like, that song almost, like, the theme song was stuck in my head, and, like, I don't know, they're chasing people. I feel like they're always in Florida.
Yeah, it's always
Florida Man.
Yeah, we talked about Florida Man games recently.
That's right, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that always sticks out.
Cops.
But I remember, like, Cops. Yep.
Man, it's so specific. Like, I could never have guessed that.
And obviously there's, like, gifts I got.
That were cops related, like cops shirts and stuff. Cops.
Got a
baton.
Baton, yeah. You
and your brother just beating the crap at each other with batons. Oh, kids. That's your one Christmas Eve present every year.
Yeah, that's
Billy Club or whatever.
That's what sticks out. And I remember, like, getting like an intent Billy Club. Yeah, I remember getting, like,
is that like wrong to say? Is that like what do they call it? A Billy Club?
I have no idea.
Is that like?
Can we say that?
Yeah, are we allowed to say that? What's a Billy?
We might not be able to say it. I have no idea. But they're legal, aren't they? For like a civilian to have?
Is that the one that's like loaded with lead that like spring loaded? Or is it just the
baton? I just thought I just pictured it as being that, like, the baton with, like, the little, like, stick on the sides. Like they were, like, twirl it around.
We may have to cut all this out. I don't know.
Maybe we'll see.
We'll have to Google that later.
For some reason, when he first said that, that's what stuck out. Watching Cops on Christmas Eve.
Man.
But we all were like, this is great. We're watching people get arrested, and, like,
we're together.
It was so weird.
Were they like, did they have Christmas episodes?
I'm sure
the police
they
are
did.
wearing like Santa hats and just beating the crap out of people on the front lawn while the kids are
Ho
screaming.
ho ho! Just beating. Yeah.
Oh my god!
I don't know. We thought it was the funniest thing. That we acknowledge how
Bruce brutality.
No, that wasn't that. But we acknowledge how crazy it was that we're watching Cops on Christmas.
But every season it came up.
I feel like every year when we're living there, yeah.
Your uncle had it like on VHS or something. You record right off the TV.
No, I think like they were showing like, because it was on Fox. I think they were like showing the marathons. I don't know about marathon, but it was always on for some reason.
I think it's still.
I could be wrong. It could have been like
played?
1 or 2 years. For some reason, I felt like we did it every year. We watched.
That's
Cops.
so crazy. Cops.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it when I was a little. Like we're same age, so I remember seeing it like when I was coming up.
Yeah.
You know, I remember seeing Cops on TV because obviously it was like the Thursday night show.
Yeah.
You know, like it was like Cops and
right.
What was the other popular shows then? It was like, you know, the Thursday night must see, Wednesday night.
Yeah.
The water cooler show. Everybody's like, did you see that guy get beat by that cop?
Yeah, Simpsons was big then.
Yes. Simpsons Sunday night.
You know, it's funny though is like Dare. Remember Dare? Did you have to go to Dare? Like the cops would like come and like do songs and like.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the most ineffective thing ever.
You know, it's still a thing.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. My nephew just like finished I
thought
like
they stopped doing
graduated.
that.
No, they have like, he got like a shirt and like a hat and like a certificate for passing all of Dare.
Oh wow. Yeah, I thought they stopped doing it because like I remember reading some. I don't know if this is true, but that was like totally ineffective.
Oh,
the whole Dare thing.
Yeah,
but
kids are
cops watching Cops. I was like, I don't want to ever like get arrested or do hard drugs or anything like that because like.
So just show my kids Cops as they're growing up. Like we're gonna watch it and we're just gonna like. Don't be like these people.
And I remember years later, and then this is also years past now, but like there was a Campus PD that was on like G4 TV.
Yeah. And like Esquire TV, whatever they called it.
Yeah.
Like,
they kept changing, but that was always fun.
Do you think that a lot of that was staged?
It had to have been. I don't know about Cops.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you think Cops was staged? It can't be just
because that would ruin my Christmas.
Was their faces scrambled? Was the bad guys' faces scrambled?
No, not sometimes. Not always though.
Because you'd have to get them to sign a release,
right? But maybe they. That's true.
We'll let you go if you sign a release. See ya.
Just let us pretend like we're locking. Yeah,
just run, and we're gonna chase you, and we'll let you go.
Let's pretend like we're locking up. Let's tase you really quick.
And tasing.
Yeah, I never really thought of that.
Tasing might have got. It had to be in some cases because you figure you always know. Like it's funny whenever you watch like this stuff on MTV and stuff. That's all reality quote, but I think it's finally coming to an end. Like all that stuff's finally on a downslope.
I hope to God it is.
It's so terrible.
It's got on hand.
You always like see in the credits writers, and you're like,
yeah, why are they writing?
Why do you have writers if it's supposed to be reality? And producers, like you see all these people like there's too many people on this staff for it to be actual reality,
right?
Because real reality is not interesting at all.
No,
being a normal person,
no,
like the Kardashians. I hate.
That's a whole nother thing. What about you? What's your memory, fondest or one most poignant memory you have of?
One year I got a gift of ashes and coal. Santa brought me that for 1 year.
Were you bad? Were you on the naughty list?
I was not a good kid. And my dad thought it was he to this day he thinks it's the most hilarious thing he ever did. He's like, remember I got you ashes and coal for Christmas? I'm like, yes, Dad, I don't remember. Yeah, it sucked.
Did he do it as a joke?
No, he did it because he was like, I was being bad that year. I guess I was really bad that year. Or like probably 2 days. Who knows what a kid does all year? Like,
yeah.
I can't remember his strap. Probably like 3 days before Christmas, I probably did something real bad. And it was young. I mean, I obviously knew Santa wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But like, it was like, my brother and sister were like still in that age group. So I had to like pretend that like, and they were like, oh, look what you got. And they're like,
did they get presents that year?
They got, yeah.
Oh.
I got presents, but like one of them happened to be.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
I got like some things.
That's all you got was
this. Yeah. No. But my dad thought it was the most hilarious thing ever. To this day, he thinks it's the best thing he ever did.
Did you end up like, were you a better kid because of that?
No.
Yeah. All right.
No, I wasn't very good. I think probably the best memory I have is like getting a Nintendo and playing like Super Mario Brothers for like 18 hours straight, peeing my pants and stuff, whatever I did when I was that age, you know. Which like, if it's funny, because like I remember getting that and like I know I had to be like, Nintendo came out so early. Like I was playing a game that was like, playing something that was like 5 or 6 years old at that point, you know. It's like, it was still like the best thing that ever happened to me.
Oh,
And I think I got like Super Mario 3 and 1.
Yeah, I remember we got Nintendo.
Like something like that. And it was like the
Big Duck
greatest.
Hunt.
Yeah.
Mario 1 and 3. And then 2 came out and we're like, this is a weird game.
But I got 1 and 3. I never got 2.
I think I only like rented 2 or we bought it years later, but it was so bizarre.
Yeah, it was weird. It's because the real 2 was so hard.
Yeah.
But like, I remember like my dad was like, all right, turn that off. I'm like, because we only have one TV in the house or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, back then, like TVs were expensive. So.
Yeah.
And so you had the one TV. It was the worst. I'd be like, hey, can I play it then? No, you didn't do your homework. Oh, Cops is on.
Turn the Nintendo
And
off.
came
Cops
right
is
back
on.
around. All right. The reason I brought this up, weirdly enough, I had to put it on my phone because I have to remember some of the details about it. Did you ever something called the Tio de Nadal? It's a Catalonian, basically parts of France.
Mhm.
It's like a tradition in those parts of France called the Tio de Nadal.
Who didn't?
Nadal.
No. What is that?
And as we know, I'm probably butchering the words.
I mean, we can't have one episode where we don't butcher words.
That's why I bring it up. I can say cops, you know. So the Tio de Nadal, what this says is it's related to the tradition of Germanic Christmas tree. So basically, it's a Christmas tree that bears gifts. And what you do with the Tio de Nadal,
It's like the Yule log?
kind of,
Okay.
but you feed it. I don't know what a Yule log is. I don't know what the actual purpose of Yule log is. I just always heard the Yule log.
It's like a ceremonial. You pick like the best tree and this is going to burn.
I'm
And
gonna throw that in the dirt. I don't care. But like what it did, and the reason I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to remember the exact details. Basically, what it is, you feed it
what do you feed it?
candy
Oh.
so that it will bring you. You give it gifts leading up to Christmas, and I guess a couple of days before Christmas, traditional Christmas,
And then it gives you gifts back.
it craps out your gifts by when you beat it. You beat the gifts out of it, and they call it the
Like a
poop
piñata.
log.
The poop log.
Yeah, the kids call it the poop log. You beat the crap out of it. The gifts fall out.
Well,
And then I guess like it's like the parents like hide a gift and like, oh look, he actually crapped out a gift for you. Like they like misdirect them.
mhm.
Yeah, it's called like the poop log, and they're just kids. And like if you look at videos and stuff, like kids are just beating.
And they
like,
still do this? Like
Yeah.
this something like it's
and they're beating a log with sticks to try to get the crap, like the poop log.
but nothing comes out though.
No, there's candy that they put in there all December that goes in there,
Okay.
and so they fill it up because they're giving gifts to it, and
There
then it
you
gives
go.
gifts to you if you're good. If you're bad, it doesn't give you the gifts back. Awesome tradition. I want to have
I think
the
you should
poop
start
log.
doing that.
Yeah, bring it back. The poop log. They'd wear like a police uniform. And every time you hit it, it's the Cops theme song plays. I'm gonna sell that next to the party missile.
There you go.
So what do we got? What do we got today? What is the mystery?
Poop log.
Poop log. That's the mystery. Is the poop log.
Funny enough, we are going to deal with Ash.
My Christmas. This is actually where my Christmas gift came from.
Because like what better, we're getting, by the time this comes out, we're a week away from Christmas. Like what better thing to talk about than, fire.
Well, the
Death.
logs. Yeah.
Death.
I want to say
Whiskey.
that this week and next week's episodes
Yeah,
are pretty terrible.
They're dark.
And they're Christmas
With the
related.
They're Christmas theme, but we got to keep the mystery going.
Mystery of why the hell we're still doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So this week we asked the question, how did Matilda Rooney die?
Matilda Rooney.
Matilda Rooney. Now, let's have a little scene here for you. Our mystery starts on Christmas Eve, 1885, on a small farm in Seneca, Illinois. The farm is owned by Patrick and Matilda Rooney. On that night, they're joined by a hired farmhand named John Larson for a bit of drinking in the kitchen. I'm assuming they're celebrating. It's Christmas Eve. Assuming they're like, hey, let's have a drink.
Party.
Christmas Eve. But apparently the Rooneys like to drink a lot.
Okay.
Like their drink of choice is whiskey.
I mean, there's nothing else. It's 1885. What else are you going to do?
1885.
Yeah, 1885. What else are you going to do?
Right. It's
You're on a farm. People don't realize how boring life was. Like, really, and it's crazy because we're like there's only the last like maybe 1 or 2 generations, like maybe the last 2 generations of like right now didn't in America. I'm saying in America, like at a point where a lot of people don't have to worry about surviving. Like they're just living.
Yeah.
Like You don't have to worry about growing your own food.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like these people are living off the land.
Yeah. Like
they're kind of relying on it.
if you had a bad harvest, you might not have any food.
Right. But apparently they were like somewhat successful, but like they still like they have to live off the land and like they need
work
people.
their butt off. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people back then, like the reason why they had kids,
right,
was it was workers, like help, and they had to pay for them. They just had to feed their own kids. You know, that's why back then a lot of people had like tons of kids.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally nothing else to do,
Yeah.
so that's where you can make the kids, and then you need help to make the farm, like to survive.
Yeah. So they own this farm, the Rooneys. That night they drink. And apparently, the big drinkers. Patrick would also often once a week go to the local bar that I think was apparently owned by his grandson to fill up this jug he had of just whiskey. Apparently, went through this jug, he'd drink this jug throughout the week.
Okay.
And have to go back the next week to fill it up.
You know, it's not good whiskey, right? Would it be?
I mean,
anything. I think things just didn't taste very good.
Yeah, I'd probably put some hair on your chest.
Yeah. Did you ever hear of spit whiskey or spit wine? Did you ever spit wine?
No.
I don't want to say it's from a certain place when I really don't know. I've heard that it's traditionally was made in parts of Africa, Southern Europe, or different parts of Europe, especially a long time ago. But I don't know if today it's still made. And I actually saw a documentary about this, about alcohol, but it had specifically spit wine. And whenever people were picking, when they were picking, specifically corn and other stuff, they would chew on the corn, and they would spit into a jar, and then they bury it.
Oh, from ferment.
It ferments.
Yeah, yeah.
The corn whiskey, but it's spit back. I guess for some reason they break up the corn. I don't know.
I've never heard that, but it makes sense. I can see people doing that.
That's what you do to get drunk.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Hey, you're right.
You gotta pass the time. Gotta make some wine today. Let's or some
eat some corn and
corn whiskey. Let's chew up some corn.
Coming to a store near you, Mysterious Pals Spit Whiskey, Spit Corn, or spit wine.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Right.
I'm sure you can find some guy on the internet just I'll send you some. He just spits in a jar and sends it to us.
After having a few drinks, Larson, the farm man that works on this farm with the Rooneys, decides he has enough and goes up to bed. He sleeps in a room. So they're drinking in the kitchen. He sleeps in a room right above the kitchen. Apparently lives in this place with the Rooneys.
He's helping. He's a farmhand, helping take care of the farm.
Yeah,
he lives with them, obviously.
Yeah. He lives in a room above the kitchen where they were all hanging out drinking. So he's a drink or two. He's like, I've had enough. I need to go to bed. And the Rooneys keep drinking from this point because, again, like I said, they like to drink a lot. At one point in the middle of the night, Larson recalls waking up and having difficulty breathing.
Larson is the farmhand.
Farmhand, yeah.
How old is these people?
So Larson, I think, was in his 60s. I feel like it's pretty old for a farmhand, but I mean, I don't know. But the Rooneys were, I think, in their 70s.
Okay.
Which is, glad you brought that up because that becomes an important thing here.
The 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Okay. In 1885.
1885, Christmas Eve, America. Yeah, Larson wakes up, finds his difficulty breathing. Eventually, he's able to fall back asleep. I think he assumed I must be getting a cold, coughing. He's like, whatever. The next morning, so this is Christmas Day, 1885. Larson wakes up, ready to go to work. Comes downstairs to try and find the Rooneys to see what he has to do that day. Doesn't see him anywhere. He's not in the kitchen. He notices, though, that Patrick Larson, his door to his bedroom is open. Now, the Larsons, for some reason, had two different rooms. They didn't sleep the Larsons. The Rooneys had two different rooms. So Patrick and Matilda slept in different rooms.
Okay.
I don't know if this is common practice. I know, in the 50s, married couples would stay in the same room but have different beds. And the reason why I think that is because of shows like Dick Van Dyke and stuff like that. So I don't know if that was actually the case. Yeah. I don't know if that was an actual thing, but
listen, it seems like a great idea.
But I don't know if it was a common thing back then for people to sleep in
different rooms.
So, so Larson knows that Patrick Rooney's bedroom door is open. He goes in. He's like, I'm going to go wake him up or see if he's in there.
So this is Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, yeah.
In December. In Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
So it's not like it's a southern state.
No, I'm assuming. I tried looking up
Is it a farm that's crops or is it livestock or is it both?
I'm not sure. It just said farm.
So maybe it's livestock and they're going to take care of livestock.
Yeah.
I would imagine,
Or
because what are
farm-
you going to do in
yeah,
December?
That's true.
I mean, there's obviously still stuff to do in a farm.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just wondering if like,
Maybe they did a bit of both.
maybe they had both. They must have had both because it was the 1800s.
Even like the primary sources I found didn't say like what kind of farm they were
It's probably
doing.
not a really big deal, and it's probably doesn't matter.
So he opens up Patrick Rooney's door, sees that he's not laying in his bed, he's laying on the floor next to his bed. He's like, oh, must be,
Passed out.
passed out and he's hungover. Goes over to like shake him, wake him up. No response. He's unresponsive.
This guy's in his 70s.
Yeah. So at this he thinks, now Larson thinks, since he's Patrick Rooney's unresponsive, that Patrick and Matilda, the married couple, had an argument that Matilda killed Rooney in the middle of the night while they were drunk, while Larson was upstairs sleeping. That's
not really seeing why they had separate rooms, that they would automatically think like, oh, he just killed her. Instead of being like, oh, he had a heart attack.
Yeah, I never saw if like they constantly argue, but like they like to drink a lot, and like they drink whiskey enough for you to argue with people. And apparently these are pretty like, they're almost seem like they're alcoholics.
In your 70s, your 70s, you're still arguing.
Oh, I guess Matilda killed him.
Okay.
So he leaves the room. Again, I don't know the layout of the house, but I'm assuming he has to go back to the kitchen, get to Matilda's room, goes and opens up her door. She's not in there. He doesn't see her anywhere in the house.
So he goes to Matilda's room. She's not there at all.
Not there.
Okay. And so
then
at this
Patrick
point,
is laying next to his bed, unresponsive, possibly dead.
So she killed him and took off.
Yeah. That was the first thing that popped in Larson said. He's like, oh, he got in drunk environment, killed him. What do you think Larson does? This sounds terrible, but this is going back. This totally remind me of the Jack the Ripper episode when I talked about the first body that was found. And there's two guys discovered.
He goes to work. He covers him up a little bit and goes to work.
So I feel like he shouldn't be laughing, but he's like, well, I'm going to go to work then.
Maybe he didn't think he was dead.
But he thought that.
I mean, he probably was like, oh, she probably killed him. Ha ha
yeah.
ha.
He's like, I'm
it's
not
like he's a doctor. He can't check her. Like,
yeah, but like if he thinks that Matilda killed him, doesn't see her, and he's like, well, I'm gonna go. I got stuff to do on the farm. I'm gonna go work.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Especially if he's like, he probably could be like, he's not responsive. He probably wasn't. He probably was like, hey, or was he like, get?
Apparently, he shook him. And as far as unresponsive, I don't know if he like checked to see if he's breathing or not. I have no idea.
So in 1880s, do you think they have a phone? Could have called the policeman like, hey, there's a dead guy here? Do you think a farm is just like
probably not there? No,
like in town.
It was like a rural farm, trying to like farming community. So again, I don't know, but I'm guessing there could have been somebody who could have gone to that might have a phone, but I'm guessing they might not have one. But anyways, I'm gonna go work. I got stuff to do. I'm getting paid. I need to get paid either way. Let's go ahead.
Did most people at this time just like not care, not know, not understand? Because it seems like this is a common theme we're finding out. Like,
yeah,
that
during this time period. Because again, this is 3 years before when we're talking about Jack the Ripper. Like, it's the same time period. So I wonder if it's just like a commonplace thing.
Even most people now, and I haven't ran into many dead bodies, but like most people now would at least. I mean, we have cell phones.
Yeah, so. Or at least get help.
Yeah, like run and get help. That's what all the Lassie episodes and I've ever seen.
Yeah,
you go get
help, girl.
Yeah, like I don't understand. And also, Lassie's way before my time. I never really watched Lassie,
right.
but it was on Nick and Night.
About it, yeah. I don't know. I'm guessing this is like kind of like the view that these people have, at least working class people might have, or blue collar, like people that work with their hands kind of thing. Like I have a job, I have stuff to do. So
maybe he was more worried about like the livestock.
Maybe, yeah. Again, if there's
I gotta
livestock,
let's get the livestock and then I'll go call the cops because he's dead. So what am I going to do? The cops aren't going to save him. I'm going to make sure the livestock don't die.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think that's a good point. So he does finish his work. He goes to grab Michael Murphy, who lives close by in another house. Michael Murphy is the son-in-law of Patrick, the one that owns this bar that Patrick used to always get the whiskey from. He grabs him. They go back to the Rooney home, and they start scouring it, like looking for any clues or anything else that might have like seemed out of place.
Still no cops are called.
Still haven't seen Matilda at all. So they at one point they go up to Larson's room. And they notice that his pillows on his bed are covered in soot, like black soot.
Okay. So this is in
Larson's room.
Larson's room.
Yeah, the farmhand.
So Larson's room.
Yep.
They go up later in the day.
Yeah, after he gets finishes working, gets his.
And then I was like, okay, I got to deal
Michael
with this
Murphy.
dead body.
Yeah. Come back, get back to the house. They start looking around the house. They start in his room, just again looking for Matilda. But then they notice on Larson's bed that there's black soot on his pillow.
Wait, didn't he just wake up from there
Yes.
earlier that day?
But that would explain why he was having trouble breathing.
Oh.
When he woke up and apparently woke up at like middle of the night, like 5 a.m. or something like that.
A little foreshadow thing.
So they continue to look through the house. They go back to the kitchen. And in the center of the kitchen, they find a hole. And the hole is like a couple feet wide.
How did he not? What is going? How does he not see this stuff?
So
How?
the hole is several feet. We can do that point now.
No, go.
No.
I don't want to ruin that.
I was going to throw a couple things there, but that's exactly what I was trying to say earlier. Like, I don't know the layout of the house, but like, he had to go through the kitchen to get to Patrick Rooney's room, right? And then he left Patrick Rooney's room to, I'm assuming, go through the kitchen again to try Matilda in her room. How do you not see this hole that's several feet wide? It's several feet wide. So I think it was like, I saw some people say like 4 to 5 feet wide.
Was there anything that he said it wasn't like? Could they say that it wasn't there and it happened whenever he was outside?
That's what I thought. But apparently, when they find this hole, they discovered a pile of white ash underneath it, skull, and part of a vertebrae. The hole itself was charred and blackened, as if it was already like it had already happened. Like it was like, I'm guessing probably cold to the touch.
Okay.
Like I'm assuming when they found it, if it was still hot, they'd be like, this must have just happened. But within, there's ashes, a bunch of like a pile of white ashes, a human skull, and part of a vertebrae. For something like that to happen,
La 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 la
yeah.
la la.
Merry Christmas! So I feel like for something like that to happen, it could have not just have happened while he was out working, or maybe
I mean, maybe you would have smelled smoke.
Yeah.
He didn't smell anything either.
No, he just woke up in the middle of the night, and was just like couldn't breathe, and eventually just passed back out.
On his bed.
Yeah, I saw something.
Was there?
I was on a website. It didn't seem very credible, but apparently there was an outline of where his head was like where his head was laying on the pillow. The soot was like made an outline around his head. I don't know about that.
Okay, so we're not talking about are we talking about a pile of soot? Or are we talking about like through the house, like through the house, it kind of spread out.
Yes, eventually there's like they do find soot
all everywhere,
pretty much everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and one of the people that actually provides a primary source of all this stuff, like a first-hand account, comes up a little bit later, but he speaks of Larson's intellect.
Okay.
He might not be so bright.
Okay. Well, I mean,
But yeah,
again,
so
it's
how did
1800s.
but how did they not see this hole in the ground? Anyways, so they finally call the police.
Am I one of those things? You ever walk in a situation, you're like, you just like kind of back away and like pretend you never saw it,
Maybe that's what, I don't know.
and then like hope someone else shows up and be like, oh, I don't know.
I feel like that's what happened with the Jack the Ripper thing when they found, was it Marianne Nichols? They're like, well, we got to get to work. We'll like fix her skirt. We'll find a police officer on the way and then tell him about it.
The worst is whenever you walk in a situation, you're like, the only adult here I have.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, or
I'm sure some people are like, this is not my problem. I'm getting out of here. Or they just
or
record
like
it.
in your own life. You're
happening.
like, yeah. You kind of back away and you're like, partner walks in there or like your kid, you're like, what'd you do? I don't know what happened in there. What happened? That's weird. You better take care of that. I do that all the time.
I thought about doing that when our cat, like, she gets sick and she'll like, crap on the floor and I'm like, I just pretend like I didn't see this.
Oh, I do that. I would do that totally.
I haven't done it, but I'm like, I could just do that.
My pet doesn't do that. It doesn't like, thankfully, but it's something, I think this happened recently. I was leaving for work and I was like, I gotta go. And dog puked on the floor. And I was like, I don't want to do it. So like I went back upstairs, got my lunch and stuff, and I was like walking, doing other stuff I had to do, and I was like, and I was leaving. I was like, "Hey, the dog just puked. I gotta go." And just like,
I'm running late. See you.
Gotta go. And she's like, "What?" Like, yeah, he puked right there. I gotta go. You better get that.
Sorry.
But like I'd seen it like a few minutes before, just totally ignored it. And she's probably gonna listen to this and be like, "What the hell?"
Oh yeah, busted.
Whatever, I'll cut it out.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. La, 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 la.
The police are called finally, as well as the coroner. The coroner comes. His name's Dr. Floyd Clendenin. But he doesn't write about his findings. His findings aren't really known, other than like the local authorities. But he writes about his findings several years later in a January issue, the Therapeutic Gazette.
Therapeutic Gazette was a newspaper.
It was like a medical journal.
Okay.
That like, and I was looking at some of these, like they're like, what are some things you could do to cure syphilis and stuff like that. So the coroner, Dr. Floyd Clendenin, he doesn't write about this publicly, or like it's not published for several years after this incident. I think it's like 1891 or something like that. There's a reason why, I think, because the way he titles the article and what's going on at the time, there's a reason why I feel like he waited a couple of years, because things are like going on. Anyways.
So wait, remind us, who was this guy again?
He's the coroner that came, I called him on to come look at the body. Yeah.
So this guy came out, looked at the body, looked at what was going on.
Yeah.
And he reported everything. Or he did the report.
Yeah. So years later, he publishes an article in this Therapeutic Gazette of his findings. Because there's kind of like a craze going on around this time, like a discussion of a certain thing, science that's unexplained. During this time, and for several centuries. Centuries. Before this incident, 1885, some people, not including just like, regular laymen, but like clergymen, scientists, and some famous writers.
For those who are listening, Jordan just winked and pointed at me when he said famous writers.
Because we're making a callback.
Chucky D.
Believe in the possibility of spontaneous human combustion.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Now, there's spontaneous combustion, right?
Okay.
That can happen with like oily rags.
Yeah, I mean, they have it with hay and stuff. Yeah.
But some people believe, and again, these are educated people, not everybody, but they do believe that spontaneous human combustion can happen.
Anything can happen if you don't. What is that saying? Like, advanced technology seems like magic to those that aren't properly of the time.
Right.
But yes, spontaneous human combustion is always said with like the little wink and nod of like come on, maybe. Yeah. What are you doing here? Come on. And it's probably one of those things that like we're saying this now because we think it's hilarious, and that who the hell would ever believe something like this? But it's like one of those things that's going to come back around on TikTok and like this social media. And people are going to start believing it again, like all the other crap that people believe that are dumb and scientifically proven many times over.
Right. And I'm not saying these people are dumb to think that.
At the time,
right? Because like I remember like watching
Cops. Yeah, Cops. We already went over this. Yeah.
No, it deals with Cops. Demolition Man.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember the whole like he gets frozen, comes back in the future, goes to the bathroom. He's like, "What's with the 3 seashells?" And like, this guy doesn't know about the 3 seashells. You know what I'm saying? Like in hindsight of like looking at passive, like
people that aren't properly, they think it's magic.
Right. It wasn't magic, but I'm saying I'm trying to give an like example of like when you look. It's easiest to look back and be like, "Oh, they were stupid to think that," but like they might not have they didn't have the advancements or like
they're
like
proper of the same.
Yeah,
what's that called? The proper
resources.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
None of this matters.
Yeah, no one's listening. So apparently there are like hundreds of.
Hi, Jordan's mom.
Yeah, hi, Mom. I'm gonna give her a shout out here in a little bit. Apparently there's instances. Hundreds of instances of like this happening.
Reports of it being like documented.
Yeah. Again, it's only some people think this. Some scientists didn't believe it. Some did.
But some wrote it down as a cause of death for people, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Even today, I think I read when I was looking at stuff up. In 2000, a man died. No one knew what happened to him. The coroner was like, "Yeah, he spontaneously combusted." It happened in like Ireland.
Where was this? Oh, Ireland.
Yeah. So there's some commonalities in like what in these instances of spontaneous combustion, if that actually happened. The victim is usually elderly, overweight,
How awesome would it be if you just spontaneously combusted right now and be like,
but we found out the camera had cut off because we're like,
yeah,
for
my
some
computer
reason,
messed up.
froze.
I'm like,
That'd be nuts.
yeah.
Because it's been a popular thing in like, in like, not only just in the science world, but like, and throughout history, but like, it's a popular thing in like books and,
Yeah, lies
movies.
are popular things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake stuff. Yeah. Movies and books are
lies.
fiction.
So yeah, number one, the victim is usually elderly or overweight. 2, the victim was an alcoholic.
These are like the
commonalities.
Back to the Patrick and Matilda.
It's just overall about commonalities and victims
between all the victims
of who were supposedly died by spontaneous combustion.
So this is a common theme.
No, yeah, just common things that happen.
Okay.
They're overweight and elderly, alcoholics. More often than not, it's a woman. Hands and feet of the victim had been separated from the body somehow. There's very little else around the victim that had combusted or caught fire.
Okay. So these are the common themes with all these cases of spontaneous human combustion.
Yes.
Documented cases.
Yeah. So some people believe whether it was like a divine retribution for them being, alcoholics or bad people.
What could it have been then? We'll get into that. But just as a rhetorical question of like all these things, they have to be a common. Okay, whatever. Go ahead. Keep going.
I mean, like again, like it's been like 100 people have been documented, but it's still like a rarity, right? For someone to just be like,
but those are the common themes.
Yeah. But I mean, even in the 80s, like there's still like there are cases of like people supposedly spontaneously combusted. Like,
okay,
there's still like scientists are still trying to figure this out today. Like most are just like, yeah, there's no freaking. But
we have no idea how this person died.
So religious people,
or someone figured out the best way to murder someone and get away from it, and they just kind of spread it around to certain people. Like it's like one book that's spread around of like how you murder someone and get away with it. Although both of them died in this case.
Yeah, the Illuminati, they made a book. The Masons.
Yeah, I mean it's probably those dudes.
Aliens, Yetis.
What if Yetis? It'd be more interesting if it was Yetis.
Yeah. Writing
Yetis.
Books. Writing books.
Yeah. They're all like glasses on, like
about
drinking coffee, typing.
Yeah, how to make a murder look like spontaneous combustion and make people argue about it for hundreds of years. So people like religious people, even people in the church, like clergymen, they'd be like, well, this is divine retribution for them being alcoholics or being like sinners.
Perfect.
It's God, God.
And that's how it got this far of like where we're still believing that because.
Yeah, I mean, like this
of
like,
that answer.
Yeah. And like, because not long from now, like 25, 30 years from now, you start getting a prohibition.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, alcoholism is a bad thing. Morally, like in regards to religion, running families. So like, I can see why some people are like, yeah, maybe. I can see like that, what's kind of what like leading into prohibition.
Yes, that they were smited.
Yeah, like a temperance kind of thing. But also, like some people are like, no, on the science side of things, an excess in drinking alcohol can cause a body to become internally flammable, causing some kind of chemical
reaction.
Yeah,
but I also want to say, like, there is a place for all if people who are very religious. There is a place for religion and science.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to say I'm mocking science or I'm mocking religion because of science. I'm saying like some things sound insane to us now.
Right.
In that religion was probably the best answer for most people because of their beliefs and it helped them.
And it makes total sense.
Calm themselves. And I understand the purpose of the importance of religion in society.
Sure.
But also
even today,
that's what I mean. Like in society, still an importance of religion, but like I don't want people to think that I'm like bashing on religion. Like
but no, I mean a lot of these scientists were like religious people too. Like you can be the same. Yeah, you can be the same. Yeah.
Even today, there's lots of people that are both. Yeah.
So you have that gambit of whether it's God intervening and like causing this or sign like something happening in your blood because you're overly intoxicated and there's kind of some kind of reaction. Going back to writers, some writers, famous ones, believe that this was actually a possibility. Herman Melville, do you know who he is? was rhetorical. I forget. He wrote Moby Dick. I never read it, but pretty famous book.
What was that again? Say that again.
Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick.
Herman Melville.
The White Whale.
No idea.
All right.
No idea. I know what Moby Dick.
Yeah.
I know what Moby Dick. I know who Moby Dick is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Who he is.
I thought he was the captain.
No, the captain's oh my God.
Ahab?
Ahab, thank you. I want to say Ichabod.
I thought his name
right.
Ichabod Crane.
Yeah.
As horseman.
Yeah.
So wait.
Ahab, yeah, you're right.
I thought his first name was Moby. His last name was maybe Dick Ahab.
Moby Ahab Dick?
Moby Dick Ahab.
Okay.
Look. There's no way in hell I would have read that. It sounds so boring. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure people are going to be like, it's so great. I'm sure it's fantastic. Moby Dick is like the, what's that show I watched I talked about? With the drug people?
Oh,
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Moby Dick is the Breaking Bad of books, of literature, right? I don't care.
Is it?
Maybe. What else is there? What's the Moby Dick of literature? Wait, I mean, what's the Moby Dick of TV shows? Breaking Bad, probably. What's the Breaking Bad of books?
Oh, man.
You think like, I'm not saying like Lord of the Rings or anything like that's like more fantasy. I'm saying like,
sure, yeah. I don't know, man. I never read Moby Dick. I just know it's about
Moby
a guy,
Dick?
like,
Wasn't there like a guy with him too? It was Ahab and some other guy.
kind of like for some reason I'm just thinking it's like Jaws. I don't know why. They're just constantly going after this white whale. Kind of like they did in Jaws.
Is that like where they got it from? Is that what Jaws is from?
Maybe. I have no idea. I never read, like I said, never read Moby Dick.
Who's the guy in Jaws? Famous guy? Dreyfuss?
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss.
Sounds like a boring movie.
You never saw Jaws?
Probably did when I was a kid. So my problem was Jaws. I think, here, I do remember it. I have visions in my head of like seeing Jaws.
Like how cool it looked at the time?
No. I have vision in my head of the most terrifying things because I was so young, not supposed to be watching Jaws.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I'm like, and now I think back, I'm like, the things I remember from Jaws are like the things that are like the bad parts.
Okay.
I have no context at that age
sure.
to understand the importance of Jaws as a movie or the messages it has.
You're a kid.
Same with Moby Dick.
Yeah.
I don't care less. What's that do? What is that? What is the purpose of that?
But would you have the context and like appreciate it now if you read Moby Dick now?
Sure, of course. I'm a doctor, of course.
I'm a doctor.
But you got to have like desire to want to read something boring as hell, or the greatness of that book, literature. This is like a common theme.
Yeah.
I don't care about literature.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think we established
Moby
that.
Dick. Who's the writer of this? Herman Melvin.
Herman Melville. Yeah.
Herman.
So anyways,
Hermie. I don't get it.
Hermie.
I'm sure it's
Herman's
a fantastic
Mermans.
story. I'm sure people.
Not Moby. Like this is why like he's known for Moby Dick, but he wrote a book called Redburn, and in there he had a character that died from spontaneous human combustion.
What if you ever see the videos of the whales that explode?
Oh, on the beach, like
That's
after they
awesome.
like puncture it and all the gas, like
Just explode. People are running because the stuff's falling on them. That's
insane.
my Moby Dick. That's my. I don't even know what that means, but that's
my Moby Dick.
When people make that reference of like, that's my white whale. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that means.
It means like you're something that you're constantly chasing, but you can't get. I think.
So boring.
So,
I'm bored
another
right now
writer.
just thinking about it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
our old boy Chucky D, who wrote Christmas Carol. From Mom.
I like how you got out of that.
It's from Mom.
Because she can't hear it.
It's like he wrote Christmas Carol. I totally forgot.
Is that how she sounds? That's not very nice. I don't think you sound like that, Jordan's mom. You sound like a very nice lady.
He went on record believing, actually like saying he believed in spontaneous human combustion. In one of his books, he had the same thing, made another character who died from spontaneous human combustion.
Okay. So Charles Dickens.
Herman Melville. So like prominent writers.
They wrote separate stories about this. Okay. So it made it well into, when was Moby Dick written?
Oh God, I have no idea. Right around the same time, I'm guessing.
Is this going on?
1800s. Yeah.
So like this guy's writing stuff, writing stories, and like popular culture is making its way into his writing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I think it's like, the zeitgeist of, or just it's people know of it.
Right.
It's like
makes sense. I mean, yeah. Of course you're going to, take that and put it in your writing.
Right. I think the reason why the coroner, going back to the story, this coroner, the reason why he wrote in that Gazette, this Therapeutic Gazette, is because he's addressing like the idea of spontaneous human combustion.
Okay, so this is the guy that wrote
the
coroner
that
from
came,
the situation that we're talking about. The Rooneys.
He titled it "A Case of Human Combustion in Man." So he writes, he gives first-hand account. It's pretty brief, but he gives his first-hand account of like when he arrived at the house, the Rooney's farm, and kind of like what he saw basically on the farm. Okay. First thing of note he mentions is when he gets to the house, he's outside the house, he smells a horrible odor coming from the house.
The dead people.
Yeah. He mentions, though, that the Rooneys were of Irish descent and drank excessively, and that Larson was a Swedish person, but was an imbecile, but perfectly harmless. Which may explain why he didn't see the hole in the ground originally, like in the hole in the kitchen. But he says perfectly harmless.
Okay, so he's saying that he's trying to say this because he's trying to say that this guy did not cause this death.
Basically, yeah. Because I think immediately, like, he was considered the main suspect because he's the only one at the house.
And both people are dead.
Yeah. In the kitchen, he notices an extinguished candle. There was a third burned. But everything in the kitchen appeared as it should be.
There wasn't electric lighting at this time?
No.
Okay. So there wasn't like they had electricity?
No. They used candles, and he notes that they only use like common candles. I don't know why that'd be important to note for that time.
Meaning maybe associated to like how combustion may have happened, that if it wasn't like a strange candle, like a different type of candle made of something more flammable, that gave off a flammable odor or something that's a cause. Yeah.
So he goes talking about the hole, and the hole in the kitchen floor speaks of finding the skull, cervical, half a vertebrae, part of a pelvis, and a femur, and 2 feet. One of the feet was still intact within its shoe. One of the feet was still there inside its shoe. It seemed like nothing. That was like the only thing that was really intact. It wasn't burned.
So when they say hands and feet in these situations, they're trying to, what that's trying to tell us is like the explosion happened in the body, shooting the extremities out.
Yeah. All the clothing, there was no clothing. It was disintegrated. Then Matilda weighed 160 pounds, but at this point was reduced to 12 pounds. So he gathered up all the ashes, was left over skeleton, the foot, put it in a box and said it only weighed 12 pounds. He concludes that Larson's still alive only because he slept upstairs above the kitchen that night and with his door closed. That's the only reason why Larson's still alive.
Wait, is Patrick Rooney burned?
Patrick Rooney died from asphyxiation.
Okay.
It's like asphyxiation. So he wasn't burned, but like he died from smoke inhalation.
Okay.
He's guessing that he probably fell off the bed because he woke up in the middle of the night. Was just like, what's going on? And died.
Okay. Which is why Larson had that problem breathing in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Because he was like breathing in the smoke from downstairs. So Larson's still alive because he slept upstairs in his room with the door shut. Patrick died from asphyxiation. But the doctor doesn't give his thoughts on how Matilda actually died. So he doesn't particularly believe, he's not really like acknowledging maybe that she did die from spontaneous human combustion. This is kind of his thoughts on it. He just says that she was intoxicated and last seen alive and appeared she died without struggle. Based on how the house or even the kitchen, of course, other than the floor, seemed undisturbed.
So there wasn't like,
no, because
the chairs weren't blown away.
When he went in the kitchen, he's like, "Oh, everything seems to be like in order. Like, didn't seem like a fight happened or like nothing was burned." I did notice some like scorch marks on the outside
of what
of the house, and I guess there was like
scorch marks on the outside.
Sorry, when he was coming in from the outside, you know, some scorch marks on the inside.
Okay, so he walked in and saw scorch marks.
Sorry, and then he was like a residue everywhere, like a white residue.
I want to point out, like, there's no bones left except for a few.
Yeah.
This had to be a very hot fire.
Right.
Because bones, I mean,
Yeah.
they don't burn easily. Like bones and teeth and stuff.
Right.
Like that's a very hot fire.
So that's I think that's the thing. Like, how does something like this happen?
Like in crematoriums,
right.
2,000 degrees for hours.
I think it's something like that.
To get that stuff to break down.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, that people are like, well, this isn't a normal fire because there at least be more of a skeleton intact, be more. The house probably would have caught on fire. At least the rest of the kitchen would have been like burnt. Or
is this a common theme in all those cases?
Yeah. Larson is dismissed as a suspect from lack of evidence, and apparently for being of good character.
Of course.
He's an imbecile, apparently.
I mean, think about those Cops episodes you saw.
Yeah.
All those Christmases.
He dies 2 weeks later from smoke inhalation. So he ended up like dying from this in the long run. Larson
dies from this situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most scientists today believe that spontaneous human combustion is impossible. Even in some in the past, they were like, this is impossible. Dickens was actually called out for the fact that he kept publicly saying, like, this is a possible thing by like scientists, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. Like, you shouldn't, like, this isn't a real thing.
Oh, so even back then they believed fiction writers.
Yeah, like again, it's like even back then, some scientists said it was real, but some were just like, no, this is.
I mean, the society was believing fiction writers over scientists.
That's what I'm gathering, yeah. So if it wasn't spontaneous human combustion, because like I said, a lot of scientists, they, even more so today, they're like, there's no way spontaneous human combustion is a thing. Even though this coroner, like I said, from like in early 2000, or it might have been 2010, said like that guy in Ireland that died, coroner's like, yeah, spontaneous human combustion.
They're still using it as a
thing. Yeah, I remember I saw a newspaper in like 1985. I think there was a woman in Chicago who probably spontaneously combusted on the street.
I feel like in the 90s when I was growing up, like that was like a common thing in popular culture.
Yeah, they referenced it in Spinal Tap. Like,
yeah, like that.
Remember video games that talk about it and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, it gets referenced not only in like these books from the past, but like in common era, like our times. People are still talking about it, but most believe, like most scientists are like, it's not a possible thing. So how did she die then? That's the question.
It seems like
clearly, like she caught fire.
So is that the theory? So are you going on to theories now? Are you going to bring up some theories?
Yeah, just and then it'll be pretty quick because a lot of them.
Because I don't want to answer anything.
A lot of them are just silly. Like I saw one was like poltergeists do it. It's like, what?
I mean, I would probably believe that over. That's not true. Okay, go ahead. Because it's so crazy. That's just because these people.
They're just trying to make
like
a breakthrough.
They want to sound like the smartest person.
Yeah. They gotta sell some.
They want to sound like they don't want to say I don't know. People are really, even I'd imagine back then, people don't want to say I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially in someone like professional level.
Yeah.
A doctor doesn't want to be known as a person who says I don't know. Like
medical
doctor.
But would you want to be that doctor who's just like throwing out silly stuff like that?
But if you're a doctor, people are going to listen to you anyway.
What other doctors like? Because they have those like peer reviewed.
When I say doctor, I mean medical doctors, right, like actual like doctors. Yeah, but like also like.
But they do those peer review articles.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like you don't want to say I have no idea.
Sure, yeah,
you're not going to release that.
Something. Sure,
you don't want to, and especially in research, they just spin the words.
Yeah.
A certain way to say like this is what it is, and you can't attribute it to anything.
Right.
Like it's probably you don't want to be a doctor saying I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. Medical doctor.
Yeah. Right. Because you're supposed to know.
Exactly. Because then that's going to send chaos.
Yeah.
If your doctor came in, you're like, hey, what's this thing growing on my neck? He's like, I don't know. You'd be like, well, I'm going to give someone else my damn money because what the hell are you doing here? What is the purpose of you?
Yeah. Going somewhere else. So we're going to go over a few. Like I said, there's a lot of like other alternate explanations for what would have been perceived as spontaneous human combustion. What might have happened to like not just Matilda Rooney, but like people who were thought to have died this way.
So these are the theories.
Yeah, and again,
common theories.
Yeah, remember like there's that that thing of like they're usually elderly, overweight, alcoholic, more often than not a woman. Not all those cases, more often than not. Hands and the feet of the victim were separated from the body. There's very little else that combusted or ignited around the victim's body when they were found.
Is there any chance that these people were just robots? Like robots from the future?
Yeah. Why would they die? Why would they, like, what happened?
Ran out of gas. Or you're drinking alcohol.
Self-destruct mode.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
That's more likely than, I mean, that's just as likely as anything else at this point.
Right. So a common thing I like in this,
and they shoot off their arms, so they're shooting their fists at people. Like Iron Man or something.
Fists go. This makes sense. And I'm wondering, like, I'm assuming, well, I know for a fact back then they didn't have like the certain codes for fabrics used. You know,
Self-destruct.
Like the
self-destruct code for each robot. Yeah.
Yeah. For, like for safety reasons.
Right. Like flammable material and stuff.
I'm assuming back then there were no codes for that. So I feel like certain codes you're wearing.
As in codes and as like FTC.
Yeah.
Like the way they sold stuff. Like you can't sell certain types of clothes that are because they could burn.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm guessing those
you can't sell a certain type of building materials if they don't have these properties.
I'm assuming those rules weren't around back then. I don't know this, but maybe like these people were wearing, at least back then, I can't explain now when these things are happening today, but at least back then, I'm guessing the clothes they're wearing.
Less oversight.
Yeah. I'm guessing the clothes they're wearing are highly flammable.
I mean,
some of the
they're
furniture
making like wool clothes,
Yeah.
like they're extremely flammable.
Right.
They're probably making their own clothes.
Yeah. So one of the common things is that like maybe the person's a smoker, maybe they have a heart attack, might have been drinking, might have a heart attack, drop the cigarette or pipe or whatever on themselves, and they catch fire and just burn.
But when their hands and feet burn.
Right. Would their whole body just like disintegrate like that?
Right.
Would that be enough heat?
2,000 degrees.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. I know it's like an insane amount of degrees, but.
And not burn anything else.
Right.
There's plenty of stories about people dropping cigarettes and lighting the entire house
I
on
remember
fire.
hearing about that. Yeah.
I mean, it happens probably even today more often than you would think.
And I saw like apparently fires tend to go more vertical than horizontal, but in time, like the fire would spread, right?
Anything. I mean,
Like,
everything's
like
probably made of wood in that house. It's probably a stick frame house.
Yeah.
It's probably not bricks. It's
Right.
1880s or whatever. Most of those were all just made out of wood.
Yeah.
I mean, the table was
yeah.
probably wood. The chairs were wood.
Yeah.
Everything was wood. And it probably had, some type of lacquer, some type of sealer on it, which is also flammable.
Yeah, right.
Was the chair she was sitting on, was that still there or was that gone?
Apparently, there's no mention of a chair.
Now there's 3, but was there an odd number of chairs? Because maybe that went with her.
But I don't know, like, the article I was reading, it was saying that, like, they move more vertical than horizontal. Again, stuff will spread, but I guess people who, firefighters and stuff like who deal with putting out fires, obviously, it's kind of a common thing to see happen in a house, at least nowadays. Like
fire to go up.
It's known to go up, but like not necessarily spread when someone burns in a fire, apparently. Against like a chain of events needs to happen.
Did the fire burn the ceiling?
I didn't see that.
If it's that hot, it had to melt stuff. It had to like anything that like did they have appliances in there? Did that stuff burn, melt, anything like that? I don't know if there's appliances back then.
I mean, apparently not. From what this doctor said when the coroner that came, he said nothing seemed out of ordinary, other than the hole in the ground. All right, moving on. This one's I don't know. You ever heard of ball lightning?
Yes.
Okay, so apparently this is like a phenomenon that people have like seen for like centuries.
Yes.
Some people thought it was like, what are they, will-o'-the-wisps?
Yes.
Yeah. But apparently people have seen this. It's been documented, but never like scientifically observed and documented. But I guess in 2012, Chinese scientists caught like a video or something like that. Like were able to not discover, but witness it happening.
Okay.
They recorded it.
And weirdly enough, they put it on TikTok and now like that's the kind of thing. It's like if one group documents it, is that really true? Unless it was like, I guess like the big thing is, can they recreate it?
Yeah.
Or can they replicate the situation? Like,
I think someone might have.
Okay.
But apparently it happens when lightning strikes the ground, because it can only happen during like a thunderstorm. When lightning strikes the ground and chemicals that are in the soil can help form a ball. Now, in the past, people were just like assume these people were hallucinating when they mentioned these things. But again, like people in our own Air Force apparently have seen these things, lightning balls. I've never heard of
in the ground. It's whenever they come out of the ground.
Yeah, they come like lightning strikes the ground. Some kind of chemicals that are in the ground can help form a ball of fire, like it's like a lightning ball.
Okay, I mean, it's believable.
I don't know. I mean, it sounded goofy to me, but I don't know nothing about. I have no knowledge of this stuff whatsoever. But apparently, this ball moves horizontally, like rather than going up and down. But it only lasts for like a little bit of time. But people have reported
Gets up and walks around like,
"Hi."
Hey. Oh, dead.
Yeah. Apparently, there's been reports of like people like flying through people's houses and like destroying things, like breaking a window, then like dissipating.
Okay.
I don't know, man. But there's a man out there, I believe he's a scientist named John Abramson, that maybe these lightning balls, these fireballs, could be the cause of spontaneous human combustion. What people believe is spontaneous combustion. Now, they provide enough heat.
They instantly melt
Somebody,
bones.
which also like maybe the impact would cause their feet and hands to fall off.
So they're saying lightning could have struck the house.
Yeah, or came into the house somehow through a lightning ball. Because like I said, there's people have reported these balls coming in their house and like breaking their windows.
Does it go around the corners and stuff? Like, how did it go directly where this lady is?
I have no idea. Those light balls.
Because like, was any of the windows broken or anything?
No. I mean, there's no mention of anything like that.
I mean, lightning can. I mean, I've seen lightning blow up a tree.
Yeah,
crazy.
So I'm gonna bring up old Charlie D again here.
Chuck D.
One of the historical instances in history, and this one that's stuck to Charles Dickens. This is what made him put a character in his book that died from spontaneous human combustion. One of these people her name was Cornelia de Bondi. She's an Italian countess who died in 1731.
And the reports are that she died of ball lightning or spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous combustion. So what was found of her remains is very similar to what happened to Matilda Rooney. A priest who conducted this investigation of this countess considered that lightning might have been the cause of her death.
Okay.
Then ruled it out since there's no scorch marks on the wall where she died.
True. I mean,
it could
important.
It could have been a lightning ball or a ball lightning thing, but yeah, there are parts of her fingers that they found, part of her feet.
Yes, I believe lightning, if she's in an open field, it strikes her directly.
She was in her room. She's like going to bed.
And night. Nothing else around her is damaged?
Not really.
There's scorch marks? There's
like a couple little burns here and there. But
and this is the queen
countess.
Or countess. Okay.
Yeah, she's Countess Nearly. This happened in 1731.
So she died in her bed?
Yeah, in a room somewhere. I don't know if it was bed, but she was going to sleep that night. She was found the next day. Like parts of her only found the next day in the room. I just picked this lightning ball thing because it sounds goofy to me, but like, I don't know. I think it's interesting.
It's like just as plausible as anything else at this point when you talk about it. Like, yeah. God could have just like,
yeah, boom, dead.
Yeah,
like what was it?
It's just as
like
believable.
Dr. Manhattan and Watchmen. He just point at someone and they just explode from the inside.
That's probably where they got it from.
Or aliens. It's always you could always be aliens.
Just as believable as all the other reasons why this happened.
So this is the most plausible thing I could find, which is crazy.
And you're really going on a limb when you say plausible.
Yeah, which is crazy because like it just seems like spontaneous human combustion is not possible, but like people are still trying to figure out like.
Meanwhile, on the ride home tonight, you're going to spontaneously combust.
Lightning ball's going to get me.
What if it's God like bowling like the ball? That's his ball is lightning. He's like, strike!
Got another one. All right, so there's something called a wick effect. This is when a fire occurs on a person. The victim's clothing absorbs melted fat. So the fat inside the person's body is fueling the fire.
The fire's on the outside of the clothing.
Yeah. So-
melting the fat.
melting the person's fat. This kind of fuels the fire itself. Also containing the fire, perhaps. The victim's clothing absorbs melted fat, acting like a candle wick and allowing the body to smolder for an extended period. This would also explain little to no damage to hands and feet due to the lack of fat in hands and feet. Experiments have indicated that this effect can explain characteristics linked to spontaneous human combustion, like extensive body incineration and minimal damage to the surroundings. Suspected cases likely involve an external ignition source, such as a match, cigarette, perhaps a candle, triggering the wick effect, with the evidence destroyed by the ensuing fire.
But not burning anything else.
While alcohol doesn't increase body flammability, severe intoxication may hinder a victim's response to slowly developing fire. So he was known to keep drinking that night, known to be an alcoholic, probably just drunk. Guessing that candle that was found by her body, that was like a third used, wearing some kind of, poor clothing that like is poorly made clothing, or like not by like
flammable,
highly flammable. Thank you. Clothing, and then like she's known to be, apparently she's overweight for that time. She had a decent amount of fat on her body.
Imagine how drunk you'd be to not realize you're on fire.
Well,
so much so that it, like, your body is smoldering.
I'd imagine at some point she's like, "Oh crap, I'm on fire," but
and maybe like the fumes put.
I heard like a lot of times with like when people
asphyxiation.
Yeah, they die from fire. From asphyxiation, inhalation before.
Right, they're not burned.
Yeah.
So this is the most plausible explanation is
a response to spontaneous human combustion.
The most plausible thing that came up with was the body's fat.
Yeah.
Insulates, it creates like almost like a human candle.
Yeah.
What do you think actually happened? Where are you going when you hear those plausible things? Talked about Moby Dick. We talked about all these things.
Yeah.
That I don't understand, don't care about.
So, I don't think the smoking thing will work because there's no recounts for smoking. Like as far as like her being drunk and like accidentally like dropping the cigarette and accidentally lighting herself on fire. But it was said in the report though that she's also known to put, like, she was in charge of putting out the candles every night before going to bed. This candle was out. Like it didn't burn all the way down.
Of course, the guy's too lazy to put out the candle.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's passed out in his room.
Yeah. Dead.
But wouldn't that, like, I don't know, I feel like that candle would have kept burning.
Yeah. Something had to put that out.
Right.
Like a force of some.
Yeah.
Like,
what would have put that candle out? Unless she was just like burning and her hand wasn't burning. She's like, man, I got to put this out.
Don't want to cause a fire.
I don't want my passed out husband in the next room to die.
That's so crazy that like this lady just burned.
Yeah. Burned right through the floor.
And that's it.
That's it.
No damage, mostly no fire damage anywhere else in the house. The house didn't burn down.
Nope.
Larson died. His name is Larson, right?
Yeah.
He died from smoke inhalation.
Yeah.
The other guy died from asphyxiation from smoke inhalation. The fire was that bad, but.
Oh, right. Yeah. It had been that bad. Yeah. To kill
those guys.
Yeah. Right.
But only damaged one area where she was sitting.
Yeah.
Possibly that we know.
That's interesting too, that other two people were there that died from this, because most of their cases I saw were people that lived alone. And they were found later by loved ones or people just like checking in on them.
Yeah. I think it's crazy.
But like the fact that two other people died during this.
He died 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So it had to be a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
But it didn't spread anywhere else.
No.
I mean, I imagine.
Again, he's right above the kitchen, so like the smoke's going to go up right up in his room.
But I mean, it's a floor.
Yeah. But
is it going to go up the steps?
No, but like imagine like they're not like our floors. They're just like boards that are not like completely, there might be spacing in between them.
That's how they build them. They're like, oh, it's good.
Clap it. Yeah.
So you're saying
I'm saying like it's 1885. I don't know what like flooring was like back then, but there might be like gaps in between each board.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I was thinking more of the vents. I don't know how the vent system worked in this house. I guess if you think about, like, they're probably using a fireplace to heat the house.
Yeah.
So they had to allow that heat to go up there.
That's true, yeah.
So it makes sense that maybe it wasn't built like you would think,
Right.
like a house today.
I don't think she spontaneously combusted. I think she was drunk and somehow caught herself on fire. But what's throwing me off is nothing else is.
Yeah, because if you're drinking that much whiskey, that would have caught fire too, right?
Yeah.
That would have exploded.
Yeah.
Whatever it was in
Yeah.
would have caught it. I'd imagine it would heat it up.
Yeah.
Like when we say kitchen, we're probably not thinking about the kitchen that we understand in today's society.
Right.
We're probably thinking about a kitchen that's more primitive, more like just a room where there's a.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like have you seen pictures of how people lived? I mean, house even with a second floor is crazy to hear about, and
Right.
more than one room.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really nice houses like from that time that are pretty big, but like
apparently they were doing well. Like their farm was they were pretty prosperous, not like loaded or anything like that, but they're doing well enough. They can, afford to have a, I mean, again, I don't know the
they
layout of
probably
the house.
built it themselves.
Yeah. And again, I don't know the layout of the house, but the second floor could have just been just the room. It's that room itself that Larson was in. So
I'm going to give you my theory. You think she just caught on fire.
Yeah. She's drunk, passed out, somehow caught on fire. Maybe she's like stumbling around, like trying to get up at night and caught fire. But you think she would be screaming? Like,
well, this guy seemed to be passed out.
But no, here's the thing. Larson he only had 2 drinks.
But he wasn't.
That could have knocked him on his. But no neighbors heard anything. But again, I don't know how close the neighbors were. I don't know how close the neighbors were.
I think it's crazy that there's no burn. There's like nothing when they walk in the house. There's a fire, so much so that it melts a person completely. Basically,
yeah. The heat is another thing too. Like to do
nothing else is really. There's no damage of note. Now we don't know exactly what it was, but not enough damage that it was noted.
Yeah,
they didn't say
contained.
Like the table melted or burnt.
Yeah, the chairs are fine. Nothing
that we know of.
Yeah,
maybe
they said like nothing seemed out of order.
Okay, they did note the person, the coroner.
He's like, yeah, it didn't look like there's some like she like caught fire, was like knocking stuff over, like
or the fire spread at all.
Yeah,
I think the most plausible thing would be. It sounds like the most plausible explanation by scientists is the thing with fat turning it into basically human candle.
I only gave you 3 things. There's other things out there, but they all seem kind of
far-fetched.
Yeah.
As far-fetched as everything seems to be too perfect in the way that the scene was set for a story.
Right.
How do we know? I would think that this story got inflated somehow by this coroner. I'm throwing a curveball.
Okay.
I think it was inflated by, personally, I think the coroner wanted to sound more fantastic, maybe to give himself, build his name.
Yeah, I mean, but he doesn't.
Because again, you were saying that it's like, maybe it was a trend. The writers were writing about it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like people like
popular
knew of it.
Culture.
Yeah, people knew of it. But the coroner never actually says like, this is how she died. He's like, this is just my own experience on like what people have considered spontaneous human combustion.
Was he trying to build a name for himself? That's what it comes back to. Is like, what did this guy have in this? Would he if he published these findings, what did he get out of that?
The coroner, I don't know what you'd get from that.
Was it like, 2 towns over, they had a spontaneous combustion? He's like, well, we got to have one here too. And the mayor calls him up and is like, hey, man, can you please?
We got one for you.
Can we please get one of these up? Yeah.
You got a body part. Might have been a fire.
Make a hole and throw some stuff in there.
Yeah. What if the Larson guy actually did do it? But then he did die. What if he set her on fire? And
he's just standing there like, oh, this is crazy.
He was an imbecile. He's like, I'll just go back upstairs and go to sleep then.
But it's not contained.
Yeah, right.
Like, he'd have to be really good at it.
He would have known that there's a possibility he would have died too.
Well, the other guy, Patrick Rooney, he was out of bed.
Yeah, he's laying next to his bed.
So did he wake up and you'd really have to talk. There's any way to find out what he saw before he died.
Yeah.
Obviously there isn't, but
his door was slightly ajar, they said, when they got to the house corner.
But also his name went in there.
Yeah. That's true.
So we don't know if that's him going in.
Yeah.
That made it ajar. Maybe it was shut.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm assuming he woke up in the middle of the night was like, what's going on? Like, still
Probably couldn't
somewhat
breathe.
drunk. Yeah. Couldn't breathe.
Well, I think we have no answers, just like always.
Yeah. Or just aliens, like always.
I think it's just as plausible that one, the coroner made it up, or it's aliens. It's either one of those. I think that's my theory.
Pretty sound.
Yep. No, take that back. Robots from the future.
Right. The shooting.
Maybe it was like, what's that called? A flap in time, like where a portal opened and like you got partially pulled in, but and she was like this. They pulled her back and it closed just to chop off her feet and like.
But what about the skull?
Well, they threw it there just to be like, oh crap, throw something in there. Like that's like the last.
It's probably like one of the farm animals
like,
on the farm. Like just kill them. Let's throw one of their pelvises
they grabbed
in
her,
there.
pulled her in, and like kind of tossed the last guy. They tossed the last guy in there that they had abducted in the last.
There you go. Next farm town over.
Yeah.
Or was Santa Claus, man? You ever think of that? Christmas Eve.
It's like that's what's in his sack.
Napalm.
Yeah. Burnt bodies.
They were bad that year.
That's how they get elves. You don't know that?
He killed them.
They burn regular humans down.
Yeah.
They melt them down into elves. That's how Santa did this. The old Saint Nick.
Old tricky Nick.
Yep. Well, Jordan, thank you for this story.
Yeah. Happy holidays too.
Happy holidays to you and everybody's out there.
It's a nice sentimental family mystery.
Yeah, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as like what next week's story is on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But like they were in their prime. They were in their late 70s, in their 70s.
They lived a good long life.
So it's not like Santa was even coming to their house. You don't know.
At least they went out having a good time because they were drunk.
Well, again, Jordan, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing this story to us. For those that are listening or watching, please go ahead if you want to help us out and hit that subscribe button or subscribe to us on a podcast platform that podcast platform that you're using.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Everywhere. We also have TikTok up at Mysterious Pals, Instagram at Mysterious Pals, Facebook at Mysterious Pals. TikTok, I already said that.
Yeah, what's X or Twitter?
Twitter is at mysterious_pals, which I don't know if we have anything up there really.
I post stuff on there.
Okay. But the big one is YouTube.
Yeah.
We have a short out that we're trying to build up our shorts and TikTok presence. And so please find us anywhere. Tell your friends. And again, it really helps us out if you subscribe or
comment,
or what's the other thing on podcasts? Follow,
yeah,
please. Thank you, and happy holidays to everybody out there. No matter who you are, what you believe in, what you celebrate, we love you and thank you for being here. And we'll see you next week. Stay mysterious.
As always, stay mysterious.